Welcome, everyone. Wonderful to be with you for our part 5, the last in our series of When Life Doesn't Go Your Way, Lessons in Forced Surrender with Sacinandana Swami. This is part of our regular weekly gathering called Remembering Who We Are to engage our true self, the soul, and to remove our identification with who we're not, the mind and the body based on the ego that makes us think we're this mind and body. So this is a very special occasion on the anniversary of this program that we get to have Sacinandana Swami from Germany, my guru and a guide at Upbuild that has been instrumental in everything that we do. We have this as within that special series, a special time because it will be a full Q&A session. This will be the opportunity for many of you to ask your questions that perhaps have been building throughout. Please do note down your questions if you have not already. That will be very, very good. And in a few minutes, Sacinandana Swami will give us a little priming before we open it up for your questions. Make sure to send to Michael Sloyer, direct message him with your questions. You can start immediately, and then we'll call upon you as time permits. As always, there will be an extra half an hour for further Q&A. Please stay if you can. It would be wonderful to get that additional time with Sacinandana Swami. We have a culture that is very vital for this program to be as effective as we want it to be for all of us. It's based on 3 pillars. So we ask your full-hearted participation. Please be undivided in your attention, not distracted. It's so easy to be distracted, and on our computers even more so. But this is a space that is meant to be an oasis in our week where we are just giving ourselves fully and receiving fully. So please kindly keep your video on throughout as far as possible. That also just makes a difference in the level of presence and receptivity. So your full-hearted participation, your respect for the teachings and our dear teacher that is with us, that makes all the difference. Then we become much more receptive when we really respect. And lastly, determination, that I want to walk out of here different. I don't want to just be hearing and it goes in one ear, out the other. I really have to make a determination that I will take these teachings with me. Something should shift in me. So we make that determination now. So your full-hearted participation, respect, and determination are wanted. And thank you for joining us for this once again and for being with us from wherever you are in the world. Very honored to have you. And now I turn it over to our dear speaker, Sacinandana Swami, who will prime us before we get to your questions. You may need to unmute. There we go.
Let me affectionately greet everyone on this call. I have gone through the little windows on the computer and have seen most of you. Let me just brief you a little bit on what I call the architecture of change in my workshops. It is clear if we want to change our normal behavioral patterns, we will have to move out of our so-called comfort zone, where we more or less do what we have always done. And that move can bring us in contact with our fears. If during that time, when we are slightly uncomfortable, we take to something which is called learning new things and applying new things, we have the chance to genuinely grow. So it is architecture of change means to stop, to go deep, and finally act from a new level, and a level of spiritual insight. That requires always of letting go and creating a space which we can fill with something new. When I was in Mauritius, I met my teacher of change, which was a surprising teacher. After 3 days of lecturing and singing on that island, one of my friends said, "Would you like to go snorkeling?" And I said, "Well, I didn't think of it, but do you know how to do this, or where to find the equipment?" And he twinkled. He had a twinkle in his eye, and he said, "Just follow me." So soon I found myself with these fins, I think you call them, on my feet, a big, glass before my eyes, and a snorkel, swimming over the amazing underwater world of Mauritius. We were swimming in a nature-protected area. There were coral reefs, there were swarms of fishes who began to nibble on my body that required some I was not used to such intimacy with fishes, but it was all right. They were peaceful, no sharks. And all of a sudden, as I looked on the ground, I saw something whitish. It was about this big, and it receded quickly upon seeing me into something like an underwater cave. My curiosity was awakened, and I looked at the mouth of the cave, and there was a reddish broken shell. I went on, and there are so many things to see, but I made it a point to ask the people who were stewards of this underwater world. I made it a point to ask them what they saw, what I saw, and they told me, "You saw a lobster." Then they explained, from time to time, the lobster will find out that its shell is too narrow. It once served the lobster very well to protect it against predators or anything, but then the time came where the lobster outgrew its shell and needed to shed it. It needed to break it first, and then get out of it, go and then grow a new shell that was more appropriate, more fitting, more serving its new purposes. And as I thought about it, I thought, the process I described to you, letting go of your ego, if you want to change, is something like breaking your old shell. It's something that the lobster needs to do in order to grow. If you're not prepared to go through this phase of shedding your old ego, of breaking out of your so-called comfort zone, which is no longer comfortable, by the way, but which is repeating the known things and not confronting unknown things. If you're not prepared to leave that and go into an area where you can learn and then grow, you will have difficulties. I was sharing my insights once in a lecture, and at the end of the lecture, a little girl came and gave me this. Can you see? It's a lobster. And the little girl said, I understood everything about your lecture, Maharaj, the first time. I thought that was so sweet that I just wanted to show you my lobster. So if you forget many things, don't forget the teacher of change, which I have just prepared to you prepared or shown you in a humorous way. It is quite humorous to see this, but quite, let us say, it's not for the faint in heart to do that change. Having said this much, I want to see if you have any questions pertaining to this amazing and inspiring subject matter of, choosing new ways to act, especially at the time when things don't go our way any longer, when the shell we have built in our life has proven to be too narrowing and too inefficient. Fine, thank you very much for listening. And I know you will not forget what the little girl gave me. And sometimes children are very endearing in what they do.
Thank you. So we'll begin our Q&A now, and we will start the first question with Jay. Jay, would you please ask your question?
Thank you, Hare Prasad. First of all, thank you so much, Sacinandana Swami, for your blessing 2 weeks ago. I very, very much appreciated it and felt I experienced it in a way that was very unique for me. Over the last 18 months, I have been dealing with a chronic illness. So, it's called long COVID, but it has very much changed what I am able to do. And so, during this process, over the last 6 months, during that 18, I've been feeling a little better, and I've noticed I am happier as I've been feeling a little bit better. So I can see the attachment sort of to this body and to my condition. But sometimes when I try to accept that I may continue to have some physical or mental capacity constraints, the feedback I get just from others or from listening is almost like that mentality is defeatist. Like everyone wants to point out I am improving. I need to fully believe I can recover to sort of have a positive mindset so that recovery happens. So I don't know how to reconcile the acceptance and surrender also with still having the hope and effort toward healing without feeling attached to the outcome of that hope and effort towards healing. And so any words you could share would be helpful.
How kind you expressed also that vulnerable situation in which you are. Jay, it's very important that during this time where you are still, or where you are constrained in some ways, you focus on what you can do. Bad is often stronger than good because it occupies our mind more than our opportunities which we have. I have seen in my life when I was constrained by illness, by being in the hospital, even I had a few visits to the hospital. the moment I focused on what I liked to do and wanted to do always, I felt at times even happy that I was constrained in my hospital bed. It sounds strange, and please believe me, at least people who know me tell me I'm not a morbid person or something like this. I'm a very active and dynamic person. But when I managed to switch into what I could be, what I was doing, then it went wonderful. In Persia, they have a proverb: if life throws a knife of you, make sure you catch it by the wooden handle and not by the blade, of course. So try to see what the situation perhaps gives you that was not there before, and you will come out rich from this. By the way, I shouldn't say it as a neutral lecturer, because you are the brother of Vipin. Is this true?
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
I feel you are like family. Jay, you look like a person who you are not on a death row or on an illness row or something. You have that vibrancy in you, and that atmosphere around you that tells anyone who knows to look with these eyes that everything will be all right. But you may have to learn now a lesson which you have not learned in our driven culture. That is to focus on the things where you are not super productive like you used to be, where the things which are more the softer things in life that do not immediately produce hard results. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. Franca, would you kindly ask your question?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to listen this series. It was really inspiring listening you. And I had many questions, but definitely this one is important to me. A couple of times you lead us to a beautiful meditation, and you invite us to close our eyes and then open it and see everything fresh for the first time. That was very, very strongly resonating with me, because it was also a moment, part of the way I was playing when I was a child with myself. So and something really want me to ask you, is this seeing fresh a glimpse beyond our ego? Like it is the desire of our true self, and a moment where the true self can breathe. And so doing this prayer, this meditation that you invite us to do, ending with the effort of seeing everything for the first time on a regular basis, a good practice to awaken?
I believe it is the result of awakening to a new mindset or perspective or vision in life. Someone who is caught up in a dream will only see the world differently than in the dream when he has stepped out of the dream and awakened. To step out of our old perspectives, to step out of our limitations, perhaps, our conditionings, our narratives that the world tells about us and that we have adopted and tell about ourselves. To step out is possible through a spiritual practice that is regularly done. I would like to suggest to all of us on this call the need of practice. You become later what you practice now. This is not only true to simple things like push-ups or any kind of strengthening exercises, that as you practice you develop the strength and the well-being, physical well-being. This is particularly true to life. You need to practice something that builds your inner muscles, that helps you to grow. And I want to suggest a very simple form of practice to all of you on the call. You have to see when you have to leave the house and go into the day and your work or whatever it is that you are doing, your study. And then in the morning, if possible in the morning, you have to wake up in a time that gives you time, and then you fill this time. And I would say, after you've done the hygienic activities of cleanliness, you do a short thing to waken up your body. I am very fond of jumping jacks because it very quickly helps the heart to pump faster. Then you sit down for a spiritual practice. You can either chant mantras, or you can read in ancient wisdom texts. Then you have a little time to reflect about what you read or what you have practiced. In other words, you give it time to sink in a little bit deeper. And then after your spiritual practice, you take a simple breakfast and you're ready for the day. This very, very simple thing will break a routine that may not be favorable for you and help you to wake up so that then you can see the world in a new way. Practice helps us to wake up. Practice helps us to develop resilience. Practice helps us to develop a new perspective. Practice gives all the good things when it is a spiritual practice. You might also do one thing that is, if you're in the upbuild community and you know the teachers in the Rasanat, Hari Prasad, Vipin, Michael, Tsipi, you can have perhaps a session with them where you find out what type of practice is most suitable for you at this time of your life. Yes, but this looking at the world for the first time is really the result of an awakening mind. You can't, you can't just tell yourself, okay, let me close the eyes, and boom, when I open it, I see my manipulative boss as an angel. It doesn't happen like this. You have to practice developing consciousness. And perhaps you won't see your manipulating boss then as an angel. You will just be more tolerant or more distanced, more detached, no? More resilient. Thank you.
Thank you. If it's possible, I have another question, but I don't want to take the time of other that didn't ask yet.
Maybe we have you in the second round, so to say.
Yes, you can share your other question with Michael. Thank you, Franca.
Okay. Thank you.
Lisa, would you please ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Sacinandana Swami. I'm Lisa. Grateful for your time and wisdom. And my question is, it's related to the lobster analogy, which I loved the drawing, by the way. Children have made similar drawings, so it really related to that. But I actually, in the lobster analogy, the part I didn't relate to is like, I was visualizing the lobster kind of shedding it really quickly. And for me, the shedding process is long and very slow. And curious for your kind of guidance that as I move, I kind of see it as a spectrum of identifying with my ego, moving towards identifying with the soul. And I'm always wondering whether or not I'm actually making progress. I think I am, but then I don't know if I'm just fooling myself, telling myself that. So just any comments around, especially as a Westerner who, grew up in a kind of traditional Christian environment of like, these are new thoughts for me and wondering, my question is about measuring that progress along the spectrum and doing so in an honest way with myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, the tradition from which I'm coming pays a lot of attention on looking for those parameters or marks that help you to measure those criterions which help you to measure whether you are going east or whether you're going west, in other words, whether you are moving towards your spiritual fulfillment or away from it. And you asked for something that is very general and to which you can relate as a Westerner. When you make palpable progress in your journey of self-discovery, and what you will see is that you will gain a distance to your old patterns of reacting. And if that distance is only short, if it is only stepping away from immediate reaction, but the ability to just look at it without reacting, then you do know I'm on a good way. If something happens, usually it triggers something in us that is deeply embedded there, that's there. So if we can just start to stop reacting and only pause for a moment and just observe, more or less like the video function in your mobile telephone observes things, no judging, not being upset, not being disturbed, just the recording. Then we are at a very important criterion. We have arrived at a very important station in our spiritual or in our journey forward, in our journey of growth. Just this ability to stop and to reflect, perhaps, what would be a more appropriate reaction. That is something very, very good. It is known as this ability is known as detachment, and it is a sign of the awakening soul. that we can detach ourselves from our old patterns, our own old reactions, and so on. Then, a detachment or saying no is not life. Then there must be a second thing. That is, moments of spiritual awakening, moments of spiritual nourishment, moments of spiritual fulfillment, where you just touch a little bit that eternal dimension, that divine dimension, where the soul and God are residing. That's the second, very much. That's the second criterion. So these two things should be there. Do I I could tell you now a complicated 8-step program journey, but it may not resonate at this stage with you. So I only give you 2 steps. That is the ability to step away, to let go, to say that little American word which is so nice, anyway, anyway, you know. And then the second is the ability, the contact of something substantial, something spiritual, something from the more than human dimension, the divine dimension. These 2 things should be there. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Really, really helpful. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Manjit, would you kindly ask your question?
Hello, Sacinandana Swami. Thank you so much for the light you bring into the world. I feel that my question actually carries on from Lisa's quite well, because you're talking about reactions and triggers. And I had a situation a couple of weeks ago, and I always feel into my body after a situation happens to see, you know, trying to be the observer in anything that comes up in life or what life is showing me as far as obstacles, situations, how I'm meant to expand. And I was very angry in a reaction to a situation that had been bubbling over a few months, and it came to a head. And I was very angry in my reaction, and I can't remember the last time I felt that angry. And also in response, I got up and I took a walk and did all the stuff, but I expressed my anger. And a couple of days after that, you know, I always reflect, and normally I would feel shame or disappointment in myself. And my body will tell me, like, oh, Manjeet, maybe you should have reacted in a little way, or, you know, your spiritual practice is to pause and reflect. But I actually felt expressed. I felt clear. I felt the accumulation of having a situation bubble and addressing it not once, not 2, not 3, but 8 or 9 times. This was the only way that that other person got to hear me, because the slow, the talks, the explanations, the repeating. And you know, when I think about what different teachers, what I've learned from around the world, it's like, no, you're not supposed to. I did respond from a triggered state. So I wanted to ask your opinion on this, because I felt like your lobster analogy, part of me had actually outgrown that part of myself where I do things a little soft, and maybe this was me speaking my truth now and asking for what I wanted. So I feel okay about it, but I wanted to know is you know, it's still anger. I still expressed anger in a way that I have not felt in years. It was very strong, and I was shouting.
Manjit, there is destructive anger and there is constructive anger. It's not that they are the same. When you have constructive anger, is you actually can better a situation that would worsen. And it will be good for all who are involved, even the person against whom you are angry. My teacher, he used to correct us with a fiery glance first. Afterwards, there was the next level was he would just be silent and not say anything, but you could feel his something inside, and there was also shouting and yelling. I do remember that. After such a shouting thing where my teacher corrected a disciple, the disciple went out of the room and knew how to act in a better way. And I happened to be before that room. I heard my teacher laughing inside. He was not overcome by anger. He had used anger to correct a person who did something wrong and had a wrong understanding. There is a traditional story, and I think you will love it. A poisonous snake decided to give up his poisonous ways, killing ways, and came to seek initiation from the great teacher Narada Muni. Only after 2 weeks, however, the poisonous snake came back. It was badly bruised and said, I have to give up my vows. I cannot go on like this because the children in the village have known of my change and they are now attacking me from all sides. They grab me by my tail, they hurl me around, they break, they seem to break every single, I don't know if snakes have bones, but any single part of me. I have to go back to my old ways. Says the teacher. Listen, oh Nagaraj. That was the new name of the snake. Nagaraj, listen. You don't need to. What you can do is, when there is aggression towards you, you don't need to just accept it. You can just raise your hood. I think you know when the cobra raises its hood, it may move back and forth, and it may even make a sound. Shh! And everyone, even without studying biology or the ways of cobra, knows, okay, I better stop and make a distance. So, but you should not bite unless it is absolutely required. So, but that is very rare. So, this is the same advice which I would love to share with you today. There is this constructive anger which constructs something new, but don't bite. And when where the border is, that you have to find out yourself. That is, you will know when you get too deep into it. Your whole mind becomes poisoned. But you seem to be happy about the encounter. You seem to be equal-minded. I think it was constructive anger.
Yeah, it does feel there was an intention the whole time to have communication, and now everything is great. We're like, and I do feel okay. I think maybe I just shocked at myself. I was acquitted. I have not experienced this much anger in so long. But like I said, it's like there's been other times where, when you make a mistake, or the way you might have with any time, and I felt, oh, Manjeet, you didn't that was spiritually like you were off a little bit there. That wasn't the right reaction. But the way that you just framed it for me, it makes sense and it puts it into context. And I do feel in my body that it is important to express how you feel.
Yes, absolutely. And
That's without.
Hanuman was angry. Hanuman was angry. Arjuna became angry. It was constructed.
I'm laughing at your story of your teacher because it sounds like my dad. It sounds like we were kids and my dad would give a look and then, he would be angry, but then laugh later on, knowing that he's shouting to, with love to put us in line, and we show up better learning from the lesson. So thank you for your precious words. I appreciate. I love listening to you.
Thank you very much, Manjit. Harsh, would you please ask your question?
Thank you, Swamiji, for your presence and wisdom, sharing your wisdom. So my question is related to the actions and the motivation behind those actions. So when I peel back the layer and try to understand the desires that's driving my actions, I often find that my actions could be originating from multiple desires, right? So for example, if I am taking care of my health, I'm going for a run or exercising, I'm wondering if it's coming from my ego, my vanity, or is it coming from my higher self to take care of my body so that I can do something useful with it. Same thing with my work. Am I doing it only for making money or making a positive difference in the world? So my question to you is, how do I distinguish? How do I find out whether I'm doing things for the right reasons and not get paralyzed by this confusion, whether it's the right thing to do, it's coming from ego, or it's coming from my higher self?
How nice your question is, Harsh. I would like to address this question with another question. How do I find out anything? How do I find out what's the time? For instance, I will have to identify myself and feel myself as a separate entity from my timepiece, my time measurement. In the same way, the first necessity which we have when we want to find out about our motivations is we need to come to our true self and watch from there. And I found out if we do this little step back, it's quite easy to see what drives you, because you have created the ability to see and not be overwhelmed. There's a beautiful verse in the Kena Upanishad it's a question and answer session. There's a question asked and then an answer is given. Let me take you to these through these questions and answers. Who sees the world? This is the question. Who sees the world? The answer, the eye, meaning the physical instrument. Who sees the eye? Answer, the mind. Who sees the mind? The intellect. Then who sees the intellect? And what is going on there? Answer, the Atman, the self. And in some ways you could ask the question, then who sees the Atma? And you would arrive at the one with 1,000 names. But when you can ask yourself, okay, what patterns are in me that might be driving myself, you will see. As I advanced in my spiritual life, I could see that a lot of what I was doing as a monk, a new monk, was driven by the desire to obtain validation from others. I wanted to belong to my fellow monks, to the fellowship of monks. And I wanted to be seen as a valuable contributor. I could see many patterns driving me by stepping back. The last stepping back was a few days ago when I was tortured on the dentist chair. and I have an ambivalent relationship to dentists, I must admit. They are necessary, but yeah, anyways. So when everything was finished, I asked the dentist, so how was your unusual monk patient? How, as a dentist, what is the feedback you can give to me? And the dentist said, you must have made some traumatic experiences in the past with dentists. You were lying like a pillar, not moving, coming into how do you say, almost, tensing your muscles so much. And I said to the dentist, if you would know my past with dentistry, you would emphasize more with me. So he could see, the dentist, something which I unconsciously did and didn't even notice. Because I had lost at that moment my observer role. And I was too much stuck in the fear that, oh no, when will it come, this flesh-like pain from the nerves. And often we are like this, Harsh. We are too much captured, too much involved, and therefore we cannot see our own motives. But the moment we step out, and that is something we do by spiritual practice, then we see what is going on. And if we don't see it so easily, there's something that never fails. Harsh, build a relationship in your life. It could be to a good friend, or anyone who you allow to come close into your space. And that person will give you feedback, what your motives are. And it may be painful, but because you trust that person, he can give you a feedback, like the dentist. I trusted my dentist on this, not on the bigger questions of life, but on how to be a patient. Someone whom you allow to come close into your space will see what you are sometimes not able to see on your own. Therefore, we do need, as human beings, those type of friends, those type of relationships who can give us honest feedback, and although we may not we may be uncomfortable with what they say. Because we are comfortable with what they are to us, we stand good chances to accept something we have overlooked in our thing. So these two things I might offer. You may have been disappointed in friendship again and again, and you may have built hard shells against them. But don't give up. There will be friends or people who are just waiting for you, who can do that service for you.
Thank you, Harsh. Shilpa, would you kindly ask your question? This will be the last question before our official close, and we'll give Sacinandana Swami a moment to close us out. And then if you can stay after, by all means, please, there'll be more questions on it.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear anything. Have you unmuted yourself?
Can't hear.
She might have her earbuds maybe connected to her speaker or something.
Or you could just quickly, you seem to hear us very well, you could just quickly type your question in, and then someone from the technical team can just repeat your question.
I can ask her question. She shared it with me.
Good.
Okay, so her question is, I'd like to understand the difference between advocating for yourself versus pride or ego.
Good. Very often the answer is situational. What do I mean by this? There may be situations in life where it is absolutely necessary to describe your abilities, but there may be situations when it's just, for lacking of a better word, be bragging of your qualities. Let me give you an example. You go through the jungle. One of your friends is feeling tremendous pain in the stomach, and you are a surgeon who immediately knows, what is this called when you have appendix. These are the signs of an appendix, a swollen appendix. If he is not or she is not immediately relieved from this, then chances of survival are very dim. So at that time you may say, it's a situation, stop everyone, I am a tested surgeon of the New York best hospital. Does anyone have a good pocket knife? I have to do surgery now or the person will die. And then everyone, what? Yes, I'm doing this every day. I have good, how do you say, accolades, which I have at my wall. Is it called accolades? You know, this documentation and so on. I know what I'm doing, and there is something which can be done even now. And you then do it. Maybe my example is super extreme, but I want to give. I want to somehow point out there are situations in life where it's absolutely necessary and good, and has nothing to do with advertising yourself and bragging yourself, where you tell what you are doing, and there are situations when it is not appropriate, where it is just unnecessary and not. And when do you know what is what? Because it's situational, Shilpa, you will have to find it out and so on. But please know, we as human beings have this great need for validation, and therefore we often do this self-advertisement, bragging, and so on, when it's really not necessary any longer. And you have to understand, when you are pridefully advertising your glories and singing your own glories, it's not good for your spiritual life. You will identify with something that really clearly comes out of your ego. No? So, my example is very extreme. I should not always give such extreme examples, but I come from an extreme climate. I was born there, so yes.
Thank you very much, Shilpa. So now we are coming to the top of the hour, and we would invite you, Sacinandana Swami, to just put a cap on this entire series before we send those who have to leave off.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am I am led, or it's unavoidable, or it lies on the hand, it is obvious, that I need to close this session which I gave with one observation. I believe every single participant, even if only for one session or 2 sessions or whatever, is motivated by the desire to grow spiritually. And the spiritual growth is very easily possible when you understand 2 things. You need good and inspiring association, but you also need to go back and practice on your own. I heard bamboos in China grow when they are together, and after some time of being together, I heard some of them are together for 5 years, and there is no significant growth taking place. They all of a sudden shoot out of the earth and grow. So in the same way as bamboos grow by being in a colony or a sangha, an association of bamboo shoots, in much the same way we also grow in association. But then we do need to take the teachings, the learnings, or even better, the insights from the teachings and from the learnings, our personal realizations. We need to sit with them alone and then grow with them. So for us humans, community is important, but just as much as community is important, we also need our own time, our own practice, so to say, where we are sitting with our insights and letting them work within us. Very important. From outside and inside, there needs to be impulses for our spiritual growth. It was an honor for me to be with you. I really mean what I say. I'm very, very moved by you who are going through different situations in life. I could see in the lines in your faces. I could see behind the words, the things which you did not feel necessary to be expressed by words. It is all, because you went with some sincerity into the chords. When our host told us the 3 guidelines by which we have these chords, I thought these are really guidelines for serious people. Anyone who agrees to these guidelines is invested in spiritual growth. So I could see that, and I felt very, very happy. Not happy, honored, happy also, but honored to be in your association. I wish you all the best, and please take with you these 2 things. Association, there are so many programs which are offered by the Upbuild community. This is only part of a regular session. Please help me. I keep on forgetting becoming who you are,
remembering who we are.
Yes. Remembering who you are, who we are. Yes.
Yes.
So that is good to continue in this sangha, to remember who we are, and then. But don't only think of the sangha. The sangha means the community will do everything. You have to take some subjects with you, sit with them, or bring them in your life, practice, and then grow. Thank you very much. I give the word now to our host.
Thank you so much, Sacinandana Swami. We are profoundly honored to have you with us and to try to soak up everything that you're offering us with this series, When Life Doesn't Go Your Way, Lessons in Forced Surrender. Your experiences are invaluable, and I hope we're all leaving very wealthy. Thanks. For everyone who has been with us, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's amazing to have you. Please come back as you're inspired, and we're itching to serve you. All the best if you need to leave now, and this will officially close our series. Now we transition back to Q&A for those who can stay. So we will begin with Tom.
Thanks, Hari Prasad, and thank you so much, Sacinandana and Swami. So my question is this: how do you discern between how to divide your time and energy between as you engage in your relationships and kind of the material world, between people who may bring out lower tendencies in you, but where there's more opportunity for growth and service, versus spending time with people where your consciousness is naturally elevated and there's like a natural advancement in your spiritual journey, and then related to that, how important is kind of creating that solitude you mentioned for getting clarity around that?
Life is a dynamic of various different situations and forces which come together. So sometimes we may not be strong enough to grow in the association of people who are difficult for us, but who help us grow and learn lessons. And at that time, we can honestly step back and wait for the time for us to grow. I have been in such situations. I was often invited here in Europe to appear on big stages of rock and roll concerts as a monk, to speak some words of encouragement or words of inspiration. But I sometimes knew that the environment was not good for me, because I used to be a lover of Rolling Stones, of music, that type of music, and it would not be good for me to be in that atmosphere which was pregnant with loud music, very exuberant activities. Is it exuberant or outgoing activities? Various, all that for which this culture stands. And I understood I needed to take a little pause, and when I was stronger, I could follow up on the invitations again. So it's a fragile dynamic. When are you strong? When are you weak? You will find out when you are honest with yourself, Tom. Honesty with oneself, stepping back and honestly assessing ourselves is very good. The whole world may glorify you and say, Tom, you are so strong and so on, but you may say, let me step back, and am I really strong at this moment? No, everything goes helter-skelter at the moment in my mind. Thank you, Tom. I just want to say one thing. I see in the upper gallery of pictures a very near and dear person to me, our Dayal, and I'm exceedingly happy, Dayal, to see your enigmatic smile. Not enigmatic, your happy smile. Thank you for being, and also thank you, Tom. But I saw Dayal, and he's so busy. Maybe he is gone in the next moment to Australia or the Antarctic. So I had to just take the moment to greet him affectionately.
Thank you, Mike. You're like a magnet that wherever we are, we're just drawn and pulled towards you and your contagious smile. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Vikas, are you with us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We hear you well.
Yes.
Namaskar, Swamiji, and thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hear you. I was there for the series last year. This year I've not been very regular, but the 2 sessions that I've attended have been very, very inspiring. My question to you is, I'm on the early stages of this spiritual journey and trying to remember and practice, like you said, be associated with this group and practice by myself. But still, a big part of my identity is what I do at work. And I'm trying to be more conscious about it as I go along. And I think Vipin's got a big part to play in that process of how I've been able to get here. But how do I differentiate between the time that I feel that I'm doing my job well and I want to strive for excellence versus is that effort feeding back into the identity? So what's the difference, the difference between striving for excellence versus, feeding your identity?
From your question, I assume that there's something which you feel is not good when you strive for excellence. Am I correct? Because in itself, trying to bring out everything that is in you and bringing it to the table is not necessarily wrong. It could become wrong and harmful when you take to means that are questionable. But in itself, it could be done as a part of realizing what is inside of you, or using your gifts which you have been given in this human form of life. See, the usage of something makes it either good or bad. My spiritual teacher spoke of a knife. A knife can be used for murder and for saving a life in surgery. So the knife itself is neither good nor bad. It's the usage that makes it harmful or helpful. So you can see also in your life with the striving for excellence, if it's helpful to bring out the different gifts which you have been given. I think you are more... could it be that you are questioning attachment, that you see in yourself that you are anxiously driven by an almost obsessive form of attachment, and that that is...
I think there is some truth to that you want to get things done faster, quicker, and you want to do it in the right way versus becoming fixated on the result or the end. So I think there is that the anxiety in that process probably brings out some of the dissatisfaction.
That is, but that anxiety, I'm at the moment packing my luggage to go tomorrow early to the Berlin airport and fly to the land of the free. That's at least how we hear it in Europe. And I'm thinking, oh no, I still need to complete one thing on my book, so that the process of publication can go on. And I'm a little bit anxious, but not too much, because the way you can deal with this is, Vikash, you just give your best, and you understand you can't give more than your best. It's not possible. How can you jump higher than your muscles allow you to jump? So you give your best, and you leave the rest up to the divine, and so on. I want to, and Vikash, one thing you need to know: spiritual growth is not something that happens only on the rational platform. It's something that happens organically from within. So you need some time to grow. When there is a piece of grass, or when there is grass, you can't pull it up by force. All you can do is to nourish it with good water and some fertilizer perhaps, and then it will grow in a natural, organic way. So at this moment, don't be too concerned with perfection, because in your question, I cannot see anything what you do wrong for your present level of advancement. Just be conscious about watering your plant or nourishing your spiritual life, and then it will grow, and you will deal with these finer subjects or finer challenges in a mature way. Even if we would sit down for a counseling session, and I think Vipin is doing this with you, you mentioned him, there are areas which we can, where we can help. Is it called a counselee? Someone who takes counseling, and I think but there's always a little bit left over where the person needs to apply, mature, and have some time. So in the same way, so in the spiritual path, yes, there can be a lot of explanation, but the time the person needs is a little bit bigger than in counseling, because in spiritual life you really address the biggest subjects of the human existence, and you need time to grow, time to mature. It says for spiritual growth, 4 things are required. That is, you need to learn from a teacher. Second, you need to discuss with students. Third is you need to do some practice and self-study. And fourth is, Vikashji, you need time. Time to mature. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vikas. Brahmatirtha Prabhu, would you kindly ask your question?
Oh.
Nice to see you. When we have difficulties, we often experience a conflict. On one hand, we try to fix the problem we have, whatever it might be. On the other hand, we know to depend upon our sweet Lord. How to achieve the best balance without thinking that I'm the doer, or on the other hand, letting Krishna be my order taker.
First of all, my profound happiness to see you again. This is a moment of joy for me, like with so many others of you, but we have our special discussion times where we are coming very close to each other. So I have seen this very, very often in spiritual circles, not only in my own community, but also in the others, that people go to the spiritual path to escape the sometimes uncomfortable area of taking responsibility. This is very, very prevalent. Psychology calls this an escapist mentality. When it gets worse, it becomes something like spiritual bypassing, where you are not willing to confront an issue you have to confront, but in the name of spirituality, you are bypassing it, you run around it, and so on. So, to be very concrete, I believe you have to I have seen in my own spiritual teacher that he would really give the best he could. He would really take it upon himself to solve any situation, and he would give his best. But at the same time, we all saw that he would be totally detached and relaxed because he had given everything into the hands of the Lord. One of his so these almost paradoxical mentalities have to exist next to it. I want to give you an example that is familiar to you and to some of our listeners. There was a situation where one man in Mumbai had sold us, he had sold many parties before, a piece of land, but he somehow knew through his contacts that he collected the money for it, but then he blocked the final purchase agreement, and the land came back to him and he kept the money. A cheater, in other words. So he did the same thing with my spiritual teacher, who wanted to build an ashram on that ideal land, temple and ashram. And there's a whole book out on how my spiritual master or teacher fought for it. I mean, he really fought for it. He really used every ability, insight, contact he had to obtain that piece of land. Now, some of those who were with him noticed that as he was really fighting the whole day, in the evening, he would sit in the cool breeze of Mumbai. It was a beachfront property, or near the beachfront. He would be the most relaxed person you can imagine. He gave lectures, he smiled. He was almost a different person. He didn't carry even a milligram or an ounce of the tension which was there during the day until the evening. Of course, that's a self-realized soul. We are not like this, but we can learn. Give your best and let the rest be done by the sweet Lord. This was the name or the phrase you used. And I think if you don't call out or call upon all the abilities, you are looking for, you are avoiding your responsibility, and you are not seeing where the help is already given. I think you know the joke. There was this pious Christian man in a valley. A terrible flood came. Everyone was called to evacuate the valley from helicopters. But he said, no, God will save me. And he prayed, I stay here, God will save me. Then the flood increased, and he needed to take shelter on the top of his roof. A boat came by with the rescue team. And they said, get into the boat! We have to get you out of this valley. You will drown. And he said, no. God will save me. Then the flood even came higher, and he was up till here, although he was on the top of the roof. Then a helicopter came with a ladder, and the helper wanted to lift him up, and he shouted, no, God will come and save me. And then he drowned. When he arrived in heavens, I don't know if it was the ultimate heaven of Christianity or a pre-heaven. When he arrived there, God said, he said to God, "Why didn't you save me? I prayed to you." And the sweet Lord, I like this word, very nice, very much, said to him, "Oh, I first sent a warning through that loudspeaker announcement. Then I came by in the boat." And finally in the helicopter, but you didn't take my help. Then you drowned. So I believe we all have something in us which is like the announcement on the loudspeaker. I think we all have a boat in us, a certain ability which could save us in a situation or could solve a situation. And I think we all have a helicopter in us, another ability which could also help us. But if we don't call upon them, if we don't use them, if we want to escape the responsibility to use them, then we miss out on the help of our sweet Lord. Very often he comes through ways where we didn't expect him. The most foolish thing in spiritual advancement is to expect the divine to enter on that road which you expect him to enter. He will always take another road. Because he's not dependent on you. Thank you. But you know already everything.
Thank you so much, Bhavatirtha Prabhu. We are drawing to the close. Do you think we have time for one last question, Sacinandana Swami?
Yes, because we are almost packed.
Perfect. So we'll do one last question. Dayal, please.
Thank you, Sacinandana Swami, for all of your answers and insights and your warm love. My question relates back to your original story of the lobster and outgrowing things. And I'm curious if you could speak a little bit about outgrowing things even in our spiritual life. So I understand that maybe there's things that we need to outgrow materially in order to step into spiritual growth, but in spiritual life, sometimes there seems to be phases and times to outgrow even spiritual identities. And I'm curious if you could speak about those types of circumstances and how to recognize them and know if, when, and how to let go of old spiritual identities or services and address some of the fear and the uncertainties that come along with that.
A very prominent example is when people need to go into another ashram. Let me make it simple. A person may be well situated in the life of a monk for some time. He may do all the things which a monk does. He may be very careful with associating with the opposite gender so that nothing is triggered in him which would be harmful for the peace of everyone. But then there may be a time when this doesn't serve him any longer, and it is better that he enters into a good marriage. Another example is someone may take up a responsibility of leading an ashram, but then there may be a time when something else waits for him. How to recognize when it is time for us to move on or to continue the good fight against change or against temptation or making something work despite of confronting obstacles. Very often we recognize when the time for a change has come and we need to shed that identification, that shell that served us at one time, very, very often things are happening to us. In psychology, this what we call synchronicities. In spiritual life, we call them wake-up calls. And it's not just one wake-up call, it is a second wake-up call, a third wake-up call, and they continue until you let go of the old situation and you go into this uncomfortable and sometimes difficult transition from what is known to you to that which is not yet known to you. That transition period can be highly uncomfortable because answers don't show up so quickly. The new situation is not immediately there. There may be financial worries. There may be worries of what will the community think about me. There will be uncertainties. Am I on the right path? Is this the right way to proceed? And many, many more, let us say, question marks that are there in the transition mark. But that is the way we grow in our life. This transition phase is uncomfortable, yet it is the only phase in which something new can grow. Sometimes we need to, in order to survive this transition phase, to maybe make it shorter because of quicker insights that come. We may need the association of those whom we can recognize in our life as guides. We may need also human empathy. Empathy, is that the word? Yes. Where we get good, if we are human beings, we need some warmth, some love, some affection, some appreciation, and so on. We may need this. But I find out, and perhaps this is very characteristic for me as an individual, and maybe that's because I am on the monk's path all this time. I need time alone with God, and think, pray, open myself up, and sit with the questions, not cover them, and just to trust that within time the necessary answers will arrive at my door. Yes, transition phases, not easy phases. Not easy. Easy on a piece of paper, easy when you read their books out there on how to manage transition and so on. Coaches are available for this stage. I think there is a branch or speciality in coaching which focuses on helping people in transition, because it's known it's not an easy phase and help is necessary. But in some transitions there are no shortcuts. Just needs time. Some. So that we survive the time, we may need our little cave, like the lobster. There is a reason why that lobster in Mauritius was in a cave, because he is vulnerable now. he needs to close the door to his cave. That no, or I mean, I don't know if there are caves with doors, but he needs to, hide away so that no predator is coming and eating him, and so on. There is time for the lobster. He needs to go in the cave, and be patient that the new shell just comes. You know what my deep conviction is, and here I will end with this point, because this is a very good question, which I think is relevant to all of us on this call. My deep conviction, one of the things that life has told me, when I can see that there are clear signs that it's time to change, I just have something very simple. I say, stop in whatever it is that I'm going, reflect, pray, open your channels or clean your channels. I do this by spiritual practice. My receptivity, my ability to recognize new ways is dependent on how clear I am, how in the words which you use, is how pure your consciousness is. And then wait. And the thing is, sometimes I can't stop, and this is my problem. I am in a transition phase since 1 year, but because what I do is so good, and I have no space for the best that waits for me. So 1 year ago, I knew it's now time to stop, to pause, to reflect, to focus extra on my spiritual practice, and to open my channels. But I just couldn't do it because it was so. What I do is very nice. I like it, and so on. But this year, again, the knocking on the door was there from so many sides. This year, after 1 year of being not responsive, I have stopped, and now I'm entering the best phase of my life. And the good phases are not, they are included in the best. I hope that helped. Oh my God, I'm not making this up. The packing is not the thing. I have to conclude something on a book, where I need to just have time. The packing is not the problem. I've packed my suitcase 5 million times in my life, but that's not. I know how to do this, but the other thing is the problem. Good. So. I will give back to our gracious host.
Thank you so much, Dayal. Wonderful way to close. And thank you, Sacinandana Swami. What you've shared, we cannot ever thank you enough for. Deeply, deeply appreciate your presence throughout this series, and we look forward to many, many more together. At least each year like this, at least. Hopefully more. And thank you to everyone for staying after, for being so attentive and sincere. It's very inspiring to see, and we look forward to more with you as well. All the very best. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.